Cheers, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Just a Guy on My Lunch Break. My name is Corey, and I will be your host today. This is a channel where I talk mostly about kratom, substance use, and or substance abuse. But I've been known to just talk about life in general. You know, I'm a lover of life. I'm a lover of people. I'm a lover of seeing people live their best life. I'm also a person who is really passionate about living my best life. With all of that said, this channel is a little bit of everything, all wrapped up into one. You guys are just getting to know me, getting to learn me, how I go about living my best life. Some people agree with how I go, some people disagree with how I go about living my best life. Others agree, and I have things in common with those people. Others, not so much. So it just depends. I'm not everyone's cup of tea, but I'm at least some people's cup of tea. So whichever category you fall under, I'm glad you're here. If it's the first time you've ever seen my channel, watch one of the videos. If you like the vibe, if you like what you're hearing, and you like how I approach this channel, hit the subscribe button if you'd like. If you want to watch a couple, kind of see what I'm all about, welcome to do that as well. I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm actually going to go over some comments and stuff today and kind of give my responses to those comments. As always, I always get some really good, thoughtful comments from folks, and I love to address those on here for the people, by the people. You know, a lot of times you guys play a part in controlling what it is that this channel is about and what I talk about on this channel, okay? And sorry about the glare that you guys are experiencing. Really not a whole lot I can do about that. Well, maybe. Let me pull up a couple of feet here, see if that changes anything. Oh, see, now I've messed up the whole... That's a little better. All right, so starting off with at Sarah Van Sant 1224. Thanks for the video. I really needed to hear that part about paying the piper. I take powder and have been slowly cutting my dose. I was taking insane amounts of it. You and a lot of other people, Sarah. Especially on weekends. You and a lot of other people, Sarah. Oh, that's for sure. That's for sure. Any hope that I've ever had of having some measure of control over kratom, it wasn't the weekends that I was having the most success with that. I've gotten down to about 1/3 of the amount daily that I used to take, and it wasn't too bad physically. My issue is the mental. I want the stuff. I want it so bad, and the best part of my day is when I dose right after getting home from work. That's what's killing me. I've ordered capsules, and I'm going to start replacing my powder because I feel like after cutting so much, now I love the ritual of taking it almost as much as the effects. Yeah, wow. Very, very thoughtful comment, and I love it because what Sarah has said here kind of, you did a really good job of explaining some things that all of us feel, but all of us kratom users feel but don't really know how to explain. Does that make sense? The part about it being mental, the part about I want the stuff. Yeah, well, you know, that's kind of all of our problem in a nutshell, right? If you consider it a problem. And if you've ever gotten to a point in your kratom journey where you've stopped and looked and said, you know what, I'm not really sure that this is a good thing anymore, and I think I would like to change that. Well, that's all well and good, but you want the stuff. You desire the stuff. You know, you tie me off. Just shoot it into my veins. I joke about that, you know, on a regular basis, but it's not really a joke now, is it? It's not really a joke. I mean, it's a real thing. and the cravings and your desire to take that. And you're right, not just the feelings of it itself, but just even the process of, let's say if you take it in, say you take the powder and you mix it with something, or you mix it with orange juice, just the process of mixing it up, frothing it, whatever you do, shooting it back, maybe making yourself a potentiator after. Like for me, I always drink a little bit of coffee or some sort of caffeine afterwards to kind of, give you a little more of the full effects of it. And this freaking thing is following me. My God, am I gonna have to do that every 2 minutes? Hold on, guys. Sorry. I'm trying to get rid of that glare, and I just don't know if it's not gonna happen. I'm gonna completely move to another place. Sorry about the disruption here, but as you guys know, I'm just a guy on my lunch break. I don't edit shit, and so when something doesn't go quite as planned, and I'm going to a different location, and because I don't have a seatbelt on, it's squealing at me, you guys get to witness every bit of it. So I apologize for that, but you guys are coming with me. All right, let's see if I can get a little bit better luck over here and not have all of the come on. All right, you're welcome for the last 60 seconds of my video being me driving around trying to figure out a good place to park my car. No problem. Anytime you need me to waste 60 seconds of your life and then another 30 seconds explaining why I wasted the initial 60 seconds, I got you. That's what I'm here for. Anyway, Sarah. So yeah, a lot of times it absolutely is the ritual aspect of taking it, and it's little things that you look forward to experiencing after taking it. You know what I mean? And that really is a large part of why we struggle with coming off of it and cutting down off of it. But you talked about it being the mental, and you hear a lot of that with Kratom. Now don't get me wrong, there is physical dependence also as it relates to Kratom, but you hear a lot of people talk about the mental anguish, the boredom, just the low mood, the low energy, the anhedonia, which you just have trouble finding pleasure in anything. You hear a lot about that with Kratom. And honestly, I think that's one of the things that makes it so tough to quit. Because I know for me and a lot of other people, when you look at it in the whole grand scheme of things, you're like, you know what? I mean, if it's just physical pain, I can sack up and deal with that. I've had the flu before. I've had pneumonia before. I've had a cold. I know what it feels like to be in physical discomfort. That's not so much of a big deal. I can sack up and get through that. I don't know what the female version or equivalent of sacking up would be, but females have a way of doing it too. It just wouldn't involve a sack, now would it? Anyway, there goes that random internal dialogue again. You're welcome. But yeah, the physical aspect of it, people can, I can tough it out. I can do that part of it, but it's the low mood, the anhedonia, the depression, the just feeling like, oh my God, my life is so horrible without this shit. You have trouble finding any positive in anything, and I would say it's the mental way over the physical that causes people to throw in the towel on quitting and be like, I just can't do this. It's just not a good time. It's the mental. It's the mental anguish. It's the depression. It's the low mood. It's the idea of just not being able to be or feel happy, when you first come off of it, because it's just Kratom has done such a number on wrecking your dopamine system and your pleasure reward system that when you come off of it just like that, you're experiencing a lot of these aspects of mental anguish that we talked about. But yeah, listen, I think it's one of those things where you have to find, for one thing, you have to prepare yourself mentally. You're going to have to realize that, yes, it is going to suck. It's not only going to suck physically, but it's going to suck mentally. You are going to have some periods of time where you're just like, oh my God, how boring, how depressing is this? Now all of a sudden, whereas when you were taking Kratom, you felt wonderful, hunky-dory about everything all the time. Now all of a sudden you come off of Kratom, you don't like your job anymore, you barely like your family, you don't want to spend time with your family, you don't like to exercise, you don't like to do music, you don't like to go walk through the woods and hike like you used to. You just don't like anything. But it's not because you don't like those things. It's because you don't like them without the Kratom. Because the Kratom has wrecked your pleasure reward system to where now that you're off of it, you're not experiencing the natural sensations of pleasure enhancers anymore. You're not getting those rushes of dopamine anymore. Whereas before you ever started taking Kratom, you could get a dopamine rush just by walking through the woods and looking at the trees, being out in nature, feeling the wind go through, standing beside the bank of a river and just listening to the rushing water. Before, those things would give you pleasure. You would get a dopamine rush in doing those things. Now, that pleasure reward system in your brain has been wrecked. And now your body's not producing any dopamine because you've had so much dopamine going on while you were taking Kratom that your body's response to that has been like, okay, shut down the factory. We're not making any more dopamine today. We got too much going on in here. Okay, so your body shuts off dopamine production almost to a complete halt. So then when you go to stop and you don't have that Kratom on board anymore, it takes a while for your body to readjust and for that pleasure reward system to kick back up. It takes a while for your brain to switch things back around and say, okay, now it takes a while for your brain to realize, okay, now we don't have any dopamine. So let's amp this shit back up again. Let's get some production. Let's get some dopamine production going on in here again. Once you do that, and once that starts to take place over a period of time, you do get to a point later on. What I'm saying is, it gets better, Sarah. It gets better. The whole mental aspect of it, it does get better. And the cravings, I was going to say the cravings get better, but what I mean by that is you start to feel less of the cravings, and you don't have the cravings quite as often. But anyway, not going to keep rambling about that, but Sarah, thank you very much. That's a really good comment. At GTS447 says, thanks for the vid. Really good info. I'm in the midst of a taper, down to 6 grams per day from 11 to 12, dropping by a half gram every third or fourth day. Probably will take it to 1 gram or half of a gram before hopping off. Best. Thank you very much, and I would like to say, you're killing it. You're killing it. What you're describing here is exactly what I recommend to people. Dropping by about a gram or a half gram every 3 or 4 days, that kind of gives your body time to readjust to the newer amount. And if you do that, which is what we call a slow taper, you shouldn't experience a lot of intense withdrawals. You're going to have a little. You're going to have a little, but it's not going to be anything like a cold turkey situation where you're just completely, complete insomnia, complete feeling like you've got the flu every day. It's not going to be that bad if you do a slow taper, right? So I have no recommendations for you, my friend. I mean, you're doing exactly what you should do. Hopefully incorporating like the exercise and healthy diet, drinking a bunch of water and stuff like that in there. And you're killing it, man. Definitely let us know whenever you do make the jump. We like to hear how that works out for people, because when we get that information on here, I disseminate that down to all of my listeners, and then everybody else hears, okay, well, now I can kind of know what to expect once I completely jump, right? That's how we help each other on here. You know, people are at different places with this. We have people who are on Kratom, not really planning on coming off right now, but they are aware that, you know, maybe one day the train ride has to end. So they like listening to channels like this for support. Have people that are currently taking it and are in the process of coming off of it. And then you have people that used to take it and are now officially off of it. Either way, wherever you are in your particular journey, you have specific information that you can share that can help other people that are on a similar part of their own journey. Does that make sense? I definitely want to get to this one here at user-DH2NI8ZE80. You have to change that, bro. I'm not sure how you came up with that username, but damn, bro. Anyway, that's a very interesting username. Hi, I'm back, and I had to research the bridge. So talked to this guy a while back. Clint is actually his name. Clint, you know I'm just picking with you, man. The user ID. How about just at Clint? That's what I want to see. That's what I want to see next time. He was talking about this device called the bridge that is supposed to help by attaching, I think it's to the ear, the lobe of the ear, like up behind the ear, I believe, and it somehow sends a certain vibration into the ear that literally can take away any feeling of physical withdrawals from opiates. A lot of people have doubts about it, but there are videos about it. You know, before you just automatically say, oh, well, that's bullshit. That sounds too good to be true. That's bullshit. That's gotta be bullshit. I mean, you know, don't do that to yourself. You know, be open-minded, be open to the fact that, hey, you know, science is an amazing thing, and they're always coming up with new things and new ways to incorporate certain ideas and theories and practices. And hey, you know, you could be missing out on a good thing by just having that closed-minded mindset of, well, sounds too good to be true, so it has to be. I mean, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But I wanted to read what he said here. And got a new provider. The other was an asshole. Sorry to hear about that. They use the bridge at their office and have ordered a number in. I asked her point blank, does it work? Oh, yes, it does. This is someone who has seen it work a number of times. So this gentleman has asked his provider, you know, they're aware of where he is in his journey with opiates, this and that and the other, and he's been interested in this bridge device, and he's asked about it. They are aware of it. They have prescribed it to people. They've seen other people take it, and apparently it works. It absolutely works. So again, this device is called the bridge. From what I understand, I'm not a pro on this, from what I understand at this point, it's fairly new to the game. But it's one of those things you're probably gonna have to pay some cash for it. I don't think it's something that your insurance really covers. I don't think. If you guys know of something different than what I know, you're welcome to comment down below, let me know. But what I looked at was that it wasn't going to be something the insurance would really cover, so you might have to pay for it. But hey, you know, $500-600, and then you have a device that can take away physical withdrawals just like that. You know, and mental apparently helps with the mental withdrawals too. Anyway, it sounds too good to be true, but I did watch the video on it. I've watched a couple of videos on it, and you know, don't take my word for it. Watch it, see what the device is all about, listen to the medical scientific explanation of it, because it makes a lot more sense than my rudimentary explanation. So, you know, you owe yourself that. She said, however, it would not work on me because my formication, skin burning, is so severe it would not get it at all. Only opiates can take away the nerve skin pain. So you heard it from the horse's mouth. It works. Sucks not for me though, but they have a new withdrawal trick with weaning on supplement without withdrawal. Anyways, keep wearing the cool glasses. I also had basic. I'm not sure what. I think he had a typo there. Do you have any white ghosting around objects? I do not experience any white ghosting around objects. And I wanted to say too, a lot of people don't understand what formication is. And I thought I knew what it was, but I wasn't 100% positive, so I actually looked it up just to make sure that I had a correct understanding of what formication was. And formication is a tactile kind of hallucination involving the experience of skin sensations that present as itching, burning, or a crawling, but there is no physical cause. So in other words, you're feeling these things on your skin, whether it be burning, itching. They said it can be like in the form of bugs, where it feels like there's bugs up under your skin, and people pick at it and scratch it, and but then they go to the doctor, and there's no physical manifestation of any actual condition, and that's what they call formication. And it's like a hallucination, which I just gotta say, Clint, that sounds horrible, man. I hate that you're going through that. I don't know. I'm sure it manifests for different people in different ways. I'd like to learn more about that. You know, send a response, man, and let me know a little bit more about that. Does this seem like a hallucination for you? Is this something that you concede to the fact that it is in fact a hallucination? Now listen, whether it's a hallucination or whether it's not a hallucination, it's real to you, right? And that's what matters. So whether there's an actual physical presence there or not, it's real to you. And I can relate to that, you know. And I've had what they call kind of like phantom pain before. Years ago in my late 20s, I had some phantom pain associated with a spot where I've had a couple of hernia surgeries. And man, they did CT scans of the area, they did ultrasounds of the area, and they literally, I mean, every doctor I went to was just like, you know, they didn't know. They didn't see anything that should be causing me any physical pain, but it was there, and I felt it. And that's one of the most horrible things in existence. And if formication is anything like that, then I feel for you, brother. And you know, I'll say a quick prayer for you on that, because that seems like a horrible condition. But hey, let me know. Let me know. I'd love to learn more about that. But thank you for that, Clint. And hey, guys, just look into it. It's called The Bridge. You know, he's said here that his provider has confirmed that it does work. Now, listen, I want to say this. And we talked about this. Clint and I talked about this a little bit. I think it could take away some of the accountability factor. And I think that if this thing does work, doesn't necessarily mean it's a good thing, right? Could be a good thing if you're a person who really is interested and really is committed to long-term recovery and staying off of opiates, right? But think about it this way. One of the worst things about using opiates, and one of the main reasons that people are able to get off and stay off, is because they hate the withdrawals. You know, they get off and they're finally past it, and they think about how terrible those withdrawals were. And then a lot of people don't go back on it because they just ain't gonna go through that shit again. They are not going through those withdrawals again. But a lot of times, that's one of the big motivating factors that keeps people from going back on it, are the negative aspects of the withdrawals, right? So that is something to consider. If you have something like this where it's just a little device, yeah, you know, I think I want to quit taking opiates today. Well, boop, pop my little device in, shit, feel good now. Damn, I mean, what's the point in quitting? What's the point in quitting taking opiates? Or Just take the bridge, stick it in my ear, and just, hell, I'm good, man. I'll wear this bitch all the time. I'll just wear that all the time, you know, and then take it off and start taking opiates again. I mean, I'm just saying, you know. And we did talk about that might affect some of the motivating aspects of why people actually quit taking opiates. But hey, I'm no pro as far as what this device is, so I'll leave that up to you guys. But hey, look into it. You know, if you're interested in coming off of Kratom or some other sort of opiate-like substance, it's worth a look, man. It's called The Bridge. At Vape Legend 85 says, "Yo, Corey, what up, G? Love the videos. I'm trying to taper. My problem is I have no willpower at all. I just need to stick to my plan instead of always going back on it." Vape Legend, hey, you're not the only one, bro. Willpower is something that all of us who have struggled with opiates, whether it's Kratom or whether it's something else, I mean, we all struggle with the willpower. That's one of the reasons that a lot of us are still on it. That, to be completely honest, is the willpower to not only get off, but then stay off. Getting off is one thing, but then staying off long term is something completely different, you know. So you kind of have to get to a point of either just accepting it, that you're going to be a Kratom user, or go get some professional help, maybe. I mean, I feel like that's where it's at for a lot of people. It's probably where it's at for me, because I think if I'm ever going to stop, it's going to be a situation where I just have to go bite the bullet, man, and you know, go hit up some NA classes and get under a doctor's care and stuff like that, if I get to the point where I'm just fed up, done, don't want to take it anymore. You understand what I mean? So anyway, that's for another video. And Vape Legend also said, also, you can't get out of withdrawal, you just have to go through it. Yeah, because I was talking about yesterday having to pay the piper. It's absolutely true, man. You know, they talk about this thing, the bridge, you know, the Suboxone, stuff like that helps people get off. But, you know, I'm not sure what the angle would be to the bridge, except that it would cause you to probably more easily go back on opiates, because if you weren't having to experience the withdrawals, it's kind of like, what the hell should I stop for? I can have the best of both worlds, right? But hey, you know, there's a loophole in everything, you know, and usually if something seems too good to be true, there are some aspects, at least, of it that are too good to be true. And I imagine that the bridge is no different. I imagine there's probably some loopholes in that as well. And so again, that circles back to, you got to pay the piper, right? Eventually, in one way or the other. At Seeking Freedom 9020, I drink over a gallon of agua every day, about a gallon and a half. That's legit, bro. That's legit. I drink a lot myself, probably around 100 ounces maybe for me. I don't get up to a gallon and a half probably, although I have before. But hey, keep doing that. You know, I think that's one of the biggest aspects of healthy living that people sleep on, that people overlook. It's just staying hydrated, drinking a bunch of water, and helping to facilitate your body and constantly excreting, detoxifying, and, you know, becoming anew with getting rid of all the toxins that are currently in your body, especially if you're taking something like Kratom, which can be toxic if taken in large amounts. I just think that and exercise, drinking water and exercise, are two of the most important things that I try to encourage people. If you're gonna take Kratom, at least do this other shit right, okay? At least do the exercise. At least drink tons of water, right? Anyway, this shit's about to cut me off, so I gotta go. Schooled at School NYC says, thanks for the video. I found the shot stopped working after 2 weeks of daily use. That's no surprise, bro. That's no surprise. I think that goes back to just tolerance. You know, I think once your tolerance gets to a certain level, you always have to be pushing the boundary to start getting that feeling again, right? And I think you truly can get to a point where if you're not willing to just keep going up and keep going up and keep going up, you kind of do hit a ceiling or a plateau where you're just like, damn, I'm just not feeling this shit anymore. That is one of the negative aspects of opiates and tolerance, and Kratom's no different. But I gotta go. Love you guys. Like the video, comment down below, and subscribe. I'll see you next time. Peace.